Welcome to the SCV Law and Life podcast. I'm Mason Roshdian. Each week I sit down with people in the legal world and beyond to talk about the strategies that are actually working for them in law, in life, and everything in between. Real conversations, real lessons, and ideas you can actually use. Let's get into it. Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the SCV Law and Life podcast. I'm your host, Mason Roshdian. Today with us, we have attorney Rozita Yacobi, who is a dedicated mother, trusted estate planning and probate attorney, and founder of a boutique law firm focused on helping families create security, stability, and lasting legacies. For nearly 3 decades, Rozi has guided parents, grandparents, and individuals through estate planning, trust administration, and probate with a personal approach rooted in transparency, professionalism, and meaningful relationships. As a mother of 3 herself, she understands that estate planning is ultimately about protecting the people we love most. Since launching her own firm in 2015, Rozi has made it her mission to help families not only preserve wealth, but also preserve future generations, to manage it responsibly and make a positive impact in the world. I'm excited to have her here today to share her insight and expertise. Welcome to the show, Rozi.
Thank you for having me today.
So, I know I give you a little introduction, but it's nothing compared to what you can tell about yourself. So please take a couple of minutes and tell us about yourself and about your business, and we go from there.
Perfect. As a mother, you mentioned that estate planning, I realize, impacts so many people for generations to come. And my kids were little when a situation came up, and it changed the way I practice law. And it's a little bit traumatic. Like mother and father went out to dinner and didn't make it home, and they were neighbors with one of our dear friends. So she called me. She's like, "What can we do? How can we help? There's a 3-year-old, 5-year-old neighbors. Can we keep them until the grandma comes from another country?" And I was like, find some legal documents. She had the key to her friend's house, went there to her neighbor's house. No legal documents, nothing in place. And I was panic stricken. I went out to dinner the following week with my husband. I said, how can we fix this? Traditional estate planning is not addressing it. Our kids were little at the time. And I'm like, the way I set up trusts do not work on their own. So it took me a long time to figure out what I can do to protect families, especially those with minor kids. And then once they become young adults, it's its own, it just changes the way you handle things. And then planning for when they inherit it later down the line. It took a lot of work for me to reach this point to know how I can help a family with minor children.
Okay. So I know you do. So you set up trusts, which includes wills, is something separate that comes with it. You do everything that comes with estate planning. So first tell us when you do an estate planning for a client, what does it usually entail? What do they get?
They usually get some homework first. And what they do is they fill it up, they meet with us. And this is the first time they get legally and professionally, like holistically organized, financially, everything. So I get an overview of everything. And we set up a trust, depending on what type of trust their family circumstances need them to have. If it's a married couple, they each get their own will, which is a pour over trust to transfer the assets into trust in case something's not in the trust correctly. Oh, they also get power of attorney. And I've learned that power of attorney, there's a federal one that most banks will accept. There's some that only California banks will accept. So there's the federal general durable power of attorney. And there's another one, which is the California uniform statutory power of attorney. So I have a tendency to set up both for my clients just to avoid issues in case they become incapacitated while they're alive. Besides that, we set up healthcare directive, HIPAA waivers, dementia directive, physicians directive. Like there is a slew of documents. We even address how will things shake out if do they want to be buried or cremated. And then depending on their children, they have minor children or adult children, we set up different things for them as well.
Okay. I did not know that there was a federal one and a California one.
Yeah,
power of
there's a
attorney. First,
general and then there's a California one.
that's important to know because in case you have property that's outside of California, I imagine you need the federal one, right?
Yes.
Okay, because some people do have, property somewhere else as investment properties or a second home. So that's really important, something to have. Okay. Now, do you need a trust if you have a will still to avoid probate?
It depends on your assets. So if your bank accounts are over 205, and the number changes, it's like 208 to be specific and change. Over that amount, to avoid probate, you need a trust. Your real estate primary residence, if it's under 750, we can transfer it over to your beneficiaries without a trust. Otherwise, a trust is needed.
Okay. And the last thing you want to do is go through probate.
Yes, and I do help clients with probate. Regretfully, what happens is like my clients will refer a cousin with cousins beneficiaries who passed away without having a trust. And we realize that the traditional probate process takes a very long time, and we can try to streamline it. If I can get everybody to get on the same page, we can streamline it and try to wrap it up within a year and a half. But generally, it takes longer than that. And it's all public, which I don't like.
Yeah, I hear about that. Yeah, I hear that. So everything you do is public, it takes longer, and it's a lot more expensive.
Yeah. So, for example, let's say you have a home that's $1 million. You have in the bank about 250,000, and you have 150,000 for your business, the value of your business, and another $1 million in life insurance. So you have an estate of like 2.5, 2 points up. Generally, the probate fee for that would be $74,000. On top of it, everything is public. So you can walk to the courthouse and say, I need to see the latest probate filing. You can open it. You see what bank accounts they had, what assets they have, who received these assets. You're going to see all of it.
Oh, okay. And in this day and age, that's the last thing you want.
Yeah, you don't want anybody to know what your kids are inheriting.
It's already bad enough, everything on the internet. We don't need any more added on.
Exactly.
Okay. So, what size families do you help? I know you mentioned like a 2.5 million, but I know that's not obviously anybody can use you, right? Is there what I'm trying to figure out is should everybody come to have an estate planning attorney look at their documentation and set everything up, regardless of what they have?
Right. What I've noticed is I have clients that only have $10,000, but they want to give somebody an access to their bank account in case that there's a health crisis. So they nominate somebody to come in as the power of attorney agent to have access to their account and make healthcare decisions for them. They don't have the will or the trust because their assets don't call for it. But at a minimum, they have a power of attorney and they have healthcare directed. And I set that up for my clients who have young adult children. Once someone's 18, they need to have these basic fundamental documents.
Okay. Can you tell us the difference between a power of attorney and a healthcare directive?
Yes. So a power of attorney only handles matters in terms of your finances. So your bank account, paying your bills, paying your gas, electricity, rent, mortgage, whatever you have, that's what the power of attorney handles. Healthcare directive deals just with your health concerns. Whether it's like, do you want to be kept on machines? God forbid you're in a coma. Or if you're in the later stages of, let's say, you're battling cancer, do you want to take some pain medication to alleviate your pain? Even if it may, I don't know, your chance of passing away sooner may increase.
Okay. And in what stage of life does somebody start looking into getting these documents?
The moment you turn 18.
Okay.
The moment you turn 18, you need the fundamental basic plans of healthcare directive and power of attorney. Once you have children, or I have clients who have separate property assets, they inherited or they own jointly with other family members. So what I've been doing a lot more recently is we'll set up a separate trust for the assets that they've inherited, and we'll set up a joint trust for the family in case something happens. The separate trust assets will get funded in here, but it would kind of, we set up asset protection, it would go to the kids. Like the surviving spouse will manage the asset in the separate trust, but it would go to the kids. It's like one more layer of asset protection for the kids.
Okay. And I know it's really important, even if you have documents, to have them reviewed once in a while, especially if you have a change in your life, right? If you have a new kid, if you have a new house, stuff like that, right?
So if you go, let's say any major changes in your life, whether your asset, the amount of assets you have has changed, whether you had more kids, you went through a divorce, you inherited additional property, any changes, or the people you nominated to take over as your agents are no longer around, or they have their own problems, then you don't want them, they're no longer around to take care of stuff. So you need to
Right.
nominate other successor agents.
Okay. So I'll tell you a story which I know you've seen before. We have a family friend who has had his house for 40, 50 years. It's a family home.
Mhm.
He ended up marrying somebody who, for some reason, had him change some of the documentation. So now the house is in her name.
Oh, her
And
name,
then,
not
yeah,
even. Oh, wow.
yeah. And then she got sick and she passed away. So now everything in this family home, none of it goes to the guy's kids. It goes to her son, who was estranged from her and wants nothing to do with the family friend. I'm sure you've seen it before.
Yeah. So,
So
oh, that one is really hard to battle. What I recommend for people, the moment you get married, especially with second marriages, really update your estate plan. Whatever that is, whenever you have children, update it. I've seen it over and over again where they don't update their plan and something happens and they pass away.
and your kids could be left out in the cold. They get nothing. So when you talk
Oh
about
yeah,
legacy, this is exactly what you're talking about, protecting them.
right.
Yeah. Yeah. So
And
yeah, go ahead.
and something else about legacy that is a little bit unique with my firm. I don't just set up paperwork. I also like to do, if the people are comfortable, we do legacy interviews. And what we do is we capture their stories, experiences, insight for the next generation. Like I'm an immigrant and I wanted my kids to know, like I talk about it. But I
Yeah.
said, I want you guys to know what I went through to be here. And I want my grandchildren, God willing, I have some in the future, see me when I'm a little younger and not shriveled and say, hey, grandma was like cool.
Yeah, I know. The first time I talked to you, you talked about this. It's something I have never heard any other attorney do, which is the legacy portion. And I know you guys do videos, right, of
Right.
for future generations, which I think is a great idea.
I love to set up for my younger clients to set up a library. So every 3 years when they come in for a review, we like to have a new video set up. So I'm thinking set up a library for them. And I tell my clients you can upload it into a private YouTube channel if you don't want to have it because discs and USBs fail over time. You can put it there and give your trustee access to it. I had one client who passed away a few years back, and the first thing they came and told me is, we're going to be watching this video together. And it was such a beautiful bonding experience for all the kids and grandkids to sit and watch their dad's legacy interview.
Yeah, yeah. So tell folks how they can find you and where they can get a hold of you if they need your services.
Our website, which is paradigmapc.com, or they can send an email to support@paradigmapc.com.
And that's your firm's name, Paradigm.
Yes.
Yeah, and founded in 2000, about 11 years ago, pretty much.
2015, yeah, we were initially Yacobi Law because my last name is Yacobi. And then over time, I realized what I've seen is some of these older estate planning attorneys pass away and no one's there to take care of their clients. So our goal is to expand and add additional team members. And when I'm no longer practicing or if something happens to me, there are other attorneys in the firm that can carry on the work that you've set behind.
Okay. And when you meet new clients, do you traditionally meet them in the office, over Zoom, combination? How do you go about that?
Both. It depends on the client. If they want to meet in person, we actually moved to the penthouse in our building. We'll be happy to have them come to the office. And our conference room looks like like a British library. It's really cute, the big conference room. The other one, no. But it's like really cute. It's cozy. We sit, we figure out what they need and set up a plan for them. And if they want to meet via Zoom, that's okay. I have clients who live all over the state and they don't necessarily come in. We only meet via Zoom and we ship the documents for them to sign. My only thing is I want the documents sent back to me because I like to review it and scan and keep an electronic copy. I've seen many times when I ship things to them, even with instructions, we have to fix something.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So what's the biggest challenge you have as far as when a client calls you? I mean, are they like, I'm not sure if I need one, or I don't have a whole lot of money, so I don't need one. I mean, what's the biggest challenge that you guys see?
The biggest challenge I see is sometimes they're overwhelmed and they don't know where to start. So when I send them the homework, I think it's the easiest thing they start doing because it's an electronic thing. They can file it on their own, slowly complete it, and send it back to us. And what it is, it's basic information about their children, every single asset they have. And I don't need bank account numbers, but I need to know what's in the accounts. If they have investment accounts, bonds, stocks, what else do they have? Real estate, and I look at all of that. So I'm like, do you have LLCs for your properties? If they don't, depending on the asset, I'll recommend that. If their business is in a corporation, have they done business succession planning? Most businesses don't have a succession plan in place. So I don't do all of the work, but I can introduce them to different people that will put it together for them.
Okay. So the hardest part is getting started. Sounds
just
like
getting started. Picking up the phone and calling and having that 10-minute conversation first.
Do you ever get those people who says, well, if I ever put a trust in together, then I'm going to die?
Oh, yeah, all the time.
What do you tell those guys?
I'm like, it's okay. The court will make decisions for you. And I've started to handle probate. I'll make 20 times the money I'll make doing that. That's okay.
Yeah, you know how superstitious people can get.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's funny. My wife, her grandfather's Italian, right? And he would make these family recipes from Italy, but he would never write them down. Just for that reason, because if you wrote him down, he'd be worried something's going to happen to him. You know how it is.
Oh my God.
So we don't have a lot of, yeah, I know. So now tell us a little about yourself. What do you like to do when you're not practicing law? I know you got 3 kids.
Mm-hmm. So two of them are adults. My middle one is 21. My oldest is 26. And they're all doing their own thing. My youngest is 17. He's also doing his own thing. So if I'm not hanging out or having dinner or going out somewhere with them, I like to go hiking. I love to be in the garden planting stuff. And I also like to paint. Those are things I do on the side.
What kind of thing do you paint?
Right now I'm working on a moody, cloudy painting. It has a lot of blues with some light shining through, and I use foils.
Okay. So is that how you keep balance as an attorney? Because we all need something to be balanced. Is that what you use?
Yeah. And I like being in nature. I think I'm behind the computer for 10 to 12 hours a day. And I like to start my morning actually. I go for a walk or Peloton or some form of exercise. I'll meditate for 15 to 20 minutes, sometimes half hour, and then I start my day.
Man, see, that's what I need to do, and I don't do it. And I know I need to do it, but I just don't do it. Again,
okay, I have a suggestion.
Please tell
Put
me.
the shoes next to your bed or wherever you get dressed, your sneakers and your athletic wear, whatever you wear to go for a walk, just have it there. Get up 15, 20 minutes early. The first few days are hard. Once you get going, you won't stop.
All right. That's my plan. Let's see if I do it.
Find somebody to hold you accountable and you'll do it.
Oh yeah. If I tell my wife, she'll say, "Oh yeah, let's go." If I tell my dogs, "Let's go for a walk," oh, trust me, they would love it. But I don't walk my dogs even. I know.
Oh no.
I have two big dogs, and we just send them in the yard, and they just run around all they want. So that's my excuse. Let's see. So the kids, none of them want to be attorneys, huh? Nobody wants to follow your footsteps.
At the moment, no. But things can change.
Okay, cool. All right. Let's see. So again, to get a hold of you, how do people do that?
Send an email, support@paradigmapc.com, or call our office 310-276-1128.
Okay. And again, it's really important to talk to an estate planning attorney, even at a young age when you turn 18, because you need to start setting a foundation for everything that's going to come afterwards. And every time you have a life-changing event, you want to add that to it and have somebody look at it, because it saves a lot of headache, a lot of problems later on. And you want to create that legacy for your kids and your grandkids and stuff like that. And nowadays people do the DNA stuff, so they want to know where they come from. So what you do now is going to help that for future generations, because now they get to find out everything about where they came from, right?
Yeah, it's really important.
Yeah, I could tell you my dad's side of the family. I couldn't tell you a single thing. I don't even know what my grandfather's name was. Never even heard of it. So,
see, this is what disappears when someone passes away. It's who they were, what they wanted you to know about them.
Yeah.
What did they want? Like what made you happy? What made you sad? What made you excited about life? What did you want your children and grandkids to know about you, and what you want to share with them? The good and the bad.
Yeah.
We've all had both.
Yeah. So please, everybody, think of Rosie and reach out to her if you have any questions, and she'll be more than happy to get you started, because that's the hardest step, is getting started, like me, and walking in the morning.
Yes. You're going to go walk and you're going to send me an email. I started walking.
There you go. And for everybody who's watching this, thank you again. And please, if you like this podcast, please like and subscribe to our channel, and we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks, Rosie.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thanks for listening to the SVV Law and Life podcast. If today's conversation gave you something to think about, make sure to follow or subscribe so you don't miss future episodes. I'm Mason Rashtian, and I'll see you next time for more conversations on law, life, and what really moves the needle.